Friends, so we're back, and these are top 5 reasons why hotels are the ideal accommodations for single men. So, guys, I'm just gonna read it, guys, because this is really long. I've tried recording this before, and this essay is long. So, guys, we're seeing in the world from the female gaze, the family gaze, and the conservative gaze. Most of these groups are going to promote lifestyles that are not for the best enjoyment of single men. For instance, the female gaze is often going to choose expensive neighborhoods. They don't care about having space. For instance, I have a family friend that she always chooses to live in an expensive neighborhood. She just goes by brand name. Oh, the brand says this is where all the people who have some wealth live. That's where I want to live, you know? Well, I'm always thinking, well, what if I just live in a cheaper place and I have even the option of renting like another room in that place and making money out of it, you know? Because I'm thinking in my own comfort, you know? I'm not thinking, hey, what will other people think, you know? Like a lot of girls, no, not every girl, of course, but like a lot of girls in the circles I surround myself, they tend to be like that way. And some girls as well, like they're always just gonna go by appearances. And meanwhile, the family gaze is similar about having space that is ideal for their children. Like this group, and because they're a numerous group, they have buying power, they have money, and that's why there's magazines targeting them. These are guys who are always gonna choose space for their children. So some of the top rated neighborhoods where to live, for the top rated cities, they're from a gaze that it's the family gaze. Like, oh, you should live there. And I'm like, wait a minute, what kind of neighborhood is that? And then you see, and it's all families, and they tend to be very confrontational as well. And they'll say, like, some of them are nice, of course, but like when I'm saying, like, they really care about places for their children, like that's their priority. So they don't want to live in a place where it's full of clubs, bars, and stuff. And then the last gaze that I'm dealing in this essay is a conservative gaze. It's how places are often isolated from a fun environment. And this actually, I think, I don't know if it's Methodist, Calvinist, Reform, Southern Baptist, now that I'm learning all the religions, all the Protestant religions, but it's the idea that some people really like being isolated, and they just see the big city as a corrupting influence, and also they see any fun environment as bad, you know? So like they're very specific kind of people, and I don't think there's no reason why we should like expand on them. But it also reminds me of a lot of manosphere writers. A lot of them are very, very right wing, very conservative. Like they have their set worldview, and they're just gonna stick to that. And I think you guys shouldn't. If you follow me and you have this open mind and this free spirited sort of approach to life. So single family homes are isolating. The main thing I see about single family homes are that they're far from the city center. Well, they have a lot of space. Usually they're not near where the action takes place. You will get lonely at a single family home or a large house. People say that sure, they can invite friends. However, I feel that eventually the isolation will catch up with you and you will end up a loner. So single family homes, I've lived in one a long time ago, and it's really boring. It's very isolating. You're away from the city center. Well, there's space. It's a very lonely experience, you know? And I know like some millionaires have like these big houses, but that's different. But in general, like this kind of single family homes, they're definitely for their target audiences, which are families. So let's go to the next one, luxury apartments. So luxury apartments have tons of rules. This is something I've seen about luxury apartments. I lived in some of them. Well, the facilities are quote-unquote stacked. They have tons of rules. For instance, they have a lot of guest rules. You can't bring your guests to stay overnight. Sometimes you have to ask for a lot of permissions, that your guests can't use a gym while you pay for something. Why would you pay for something of this nature? It makes no sense. Also, you'll have to face both your neighbors and the HOA, which is a homeowners association. So what will happen, guys, is that a lot of guys and a lot of these manosphere guys, that's why I don't really follow them, because a lot of them, they're all into the, hey, let's try to become millionaires and all this stuff, and then we'll live in a luxury apartment. But what these guys don't know is that once they get to the luxury apartment, they have tons of rules and all this stuff, like you can't bring your guests, and then most likely property owners bring people who tend to be confrontational, you know, like they're like, well, this is my property and I don't want this, I don't want that, you know what I mean? Like, so they have tons of rules, and this is one group, which people call them the NIMBYs, like not in my neighborhood, that kind of crowd. And then you have the other group, which is a homeowners association, which is a separate group altogether, and they will have like cameras in the building, and they'll say things like, "Oh yeah, but like we don't want any parties, we don't want anything, we don't want this, we don't want that." So it's all, why would you pay to live there unless you're like extremely puritanical or something like that, and you're, I don't you like I don't know, you're a Methodist or a Calvinist or a Southern Baptist or something like that, and you're like, you really want to be alone or something. And even then, I don't think those religious people are like that. Maybe it's just like non-religious Puritans or something like that. But honestly, luxury apartments, like, they're not a big deal. They're not as great as the people who paint them are. Like, actually, they're not worth the money. And also, I knew this businessman who used to live in Las Vegas. Like, I knew a lot of people in Las Vegas, and honestly, it's not all that. Like, these places are expensive, and often, as soon as they are like that, they have tons of rules. So let's continue. Hotels are flexible. I don't mean hostels, because I wouldn't recommend hostels, but hotels are flexible when it comes to guests. Meanwhile, hotels are the complete opposite. Most of them have very flexible rules. In an apartment complex, it's over if the front desk sees you. So say you have a girl over, like maybe a girl who looks like Alicia Cuthbert, and then you're there, and then you want to go to the hotel, like you want to go through the hotel doorman and all the front desk. They'll start asking, like, if you're in the apartment complex, they'll ask you all these questions, like, who's that girl, like, what does she want, why is she here, stuff like that. Meanwhile, the hotel, most people don't care. Like, honestly, most of them are really cool if you bring in guests. Like, some of the hotels are stayed, at least, like, they're always super friendly, super nice, and they're like, that's awesome, sir, like, go ahead, like, bring your friends, bring your girls and stuff like that. So, like, hotels are flexible when it comes to guests. And honestly, guys, hotels are where it's at. Like, and I'll just like to add that and I think there's a huge difference between being around people who are property owners and being people who are just renting, and they're flexible and they don't care. I think there's a completely different mindset. That it's unexplored, unfortunately. But I think in the future, with some of the work I'm doing, it'll develop, and other writers will take notice and say, like, wait, what's going on here, And they'll start adding to this literature on what it's like to be a single man in the 21st century and stuff like that. But anyway, so hotels provide you with both cleaning and meals. So if you live in an apartment building or a single family home or other types of accommodations, you have to hire a cleaning lady or someone to cook. Of course, you can do both. And it's, guys, obviously, like, you can go and clean your apartment and all this stuff if you're like the really independent type and stuff, like, and if you're really broke, then sure, you do it. But then you can always hire a cleaning lady or cooking lady. Sure, like, okay, can that be done? Of course. However, if you're in a hotel, like, it's amazing because it's way, way better. Because, for instance, you go, there's a buffet, and then you get breakfast downstairs. Like, the breakfast is ready. Like, you can just go pick up what you like. For instance, oranges, grapes, oatmeal, strawberries, clementines, whole wheat bread. Like, everything is there. Meanwhile, the cleaning lady cleans your room daily, free of charge, or it's already included in the price of the hotel. What more can you ask? And I think that celebrities might also have seen their lifestyle as being great, since they're staying at all these high-end hotels. When you see musicians, when they're touring, they're always staying at these fancy hotels. That's why, like, their lifestyle, it's really cool and really fun. It's because they're staying at the hotels, And definitely, it's because the convenience of the hotel, guys. And this idea of convenience is going to come up again in the next point. So hotels are centrally located. Thereby, you can walk to the park, the nightclub, and then finish the night at the strip club. So when I was in the West Coast, this is a while back, like, in my centrally located hotel. I won't say the city because there's a lot of weird people on the internet who are like, all right, this is where he went to. So I would wake up, then I would get breakfast at the buffet. And I befriended all the people at the buffet as well, like the workers. They're really friendly. And after, I would go to the park to practice and pick up. And then I would head to lunch, usually a tuna sandwich. Then I would go do a few more approaches near Jamba Juice. I would go to a nightclub afterwards, and then end up the night at the strip club. At 3 a.m. or something. So it's already stacked for you, like the whole activities, like everything. Like, you wake up, breakfast is ready. Someone cleans your room. You go to the park, you practice your pickup, you go to lunch and stuff, then you go to Jamba Juice, then you go to a nightclub, then you can go to a strip club and stuff. And then if you are in, like, Germany or somewhere like that, Berlin, where, like, brothels are legal, you can just go to a brothel, like, after, if you after that pick up, you can just go to everywhere else, something like that. Like it's like the perfect combo. Like PUA plus home. But I would recommend it more if you're in Germany or the Netherlands. But anyway, guys, so you get the idea, right? Like you already have this sort of like your plan schedule, like it's all set up for you. If you are on a big city, like things change. Like if you're on an apartment complex, especially, like you're running to a lot of hurdles. But anyway, guys, I know not everybody can live in hotels, but this topic is so unexplored. Honestly, I could make 10 videos just about hotels and now make them, but this is where the holy grail is at. This is where this is where it's at. It's like an open secret, because I know like very rich people usually live in hotels as well, but this is definitely where it's at. Why is it as well? Because sometimes when you're at a hotel at the top, I don't know if I can name any names, but I won't. But the idea is that there's some hotels where the nightclub is at the top of the hotel. So then you just stay at the bottom, like you eat and stuff, and then you can just go party upstairs. So it's just so well made, Honestly, yeah, this is the real dream, living in a hotel and long term. And there's residences in some of them. So definitely imagine these guys, like you can just go upstairs, go to a nightclub, pick up girls, and just go straight to your room, take the elevator. Why would you pay for, if you already have the hotel, why would you pay to live somewhere else? Like just live there. So it's already, guys, this is like the perfect setup, and hopefully like I inspire future writers so they're like, oh wait, this guy got it. Just like Playboy, Sports Illustrated, all of them were targeted towards single men. I hope there's future magazines, maybe I'll be part of it as well, but who are like, okay guys, clearly like we have this target demographic, we want to make hotels for these guys, let's make it happen, and I think it'll happen. But anyway, guys, so you get the idea, right? I could go on and on, but honestly, guys, like if I were one of the biggest things, if I were to like go back in time, sort of, like as a thought experiment, I would just straight up go to a hotel, because like some of the happiest memories I had were at hotels. It's so centrally located, that I would just go to like Jimmy John's, and like, or Subway, and just get a sandwich, then do some pickup at the park, go to clubs, and it's all, and then just go straight to my hotel. It's such a winner's place, honestly, guys. Like this is, like I'm happy I'm sharing it with you guys, because I want you guys to have this knowledge, so that eventually like you just catch your corners and you're like, okay, that's where it's at, But anyway, my friends, I finished the essay. Like I could go on and on about hotels, but it definitely is where it's at. So, alright guys, so I'll see you in the next video, and remember, hotels is where it's at. These other places that are luxury, quote unquote, they're not. These other places which are huge spaces, they're not. And I'll see you in the next video, guys, because I think I said everything, so you guys don't get overwhelmed if I just ramble, or if I just say more content. But see you in the next video, guys, and definitely I'm writing a whole series on hotels in the future.